Red button means we're live. A casual take with your boy Stephen Pepper, here to give a take off my chest. So last night, just like any other employed 22-year-old, I was watching Mafia-thon 3. What? I was bored. Sue me. But I was checking in on Kai Cenat's stream, doing big numbers over there, and I noticed that he had Draymond Green on. So, of course, what else would Kai ask Draymond? Who's his NBA GOAT? And Draymond said, LeBron. And here's his reasoning. Quote, MJ had Pippen. Bron was winning games with Matthew Dellavedova. That guy stinks. No disrespect. MJ's equivalent to Matthew Dellavedova as a teammate was probably Steve Kerr. Now, one, I found that funny. But two, what Draymond said made me think about this take that I've had for a long time now, but I don't think I've ever shared it on this platform. So let me go do that. And it's this. If you had the number one pick in an NBA all-time draft, you absolutely have to take LeBron. No questions. Now, look, you can see the poster behind me and call me a fanboy all you want. But let me ask you, what's the point of building a roster? To compete for championships. And no man in the history of the sport is more likely to bring you to the promised land, no matter what his rest of his situation looks like, than LeBron James. You sign him, and by year two, you got a title. Miami, Cleveland, Los Angeles, it doesn't matter who the co-star, coach, competition is. He's the biggest championship guarantee in the history of the NBA. He's the only man in the history of the NBA to have a finals MVP on 3 different teams. Now you might say, well, he technically didn't win a championship his first go-around in Cleveland. That is true. But he still got to the finals at 22 years old on a team that 99% of this country can't name you the rest of the starting 5. To me, it's one of, if not his biggest argument in the GOAT debate. And now this is no knock at Jordan, but let's be honest here. Jordan's 6 finals, all of them, and 6 is a lot, won them with Phil Jackson and Scottie Pippen. That's consistency. Now, I'm not saying LeBron never had some great help, but you want to talk about inconsistency? Like Draymond said, imagine taking 2 games off a dynasty in an NBA Finals with Matthew Dellavedova as your right-hand man. Jordan's not doing that. In fact, I don't think anyone in the history of the game is doing that. Or what about this? Going to the finals with a streaky Kevin Love and George Hill as your right-hand man. Jordan wasn't getting out the East in 2018. Or, of course, coming back down 3-1 in an NBA Finals against maybe the greatest team ever. You know, the team that won the most games passing Jordan's Bulls? There's been a few players in history who've won a Finals MVP for 2 different teams. Kawhi, Kareem, Shaq won a title for 2 different teams. Multiple players in history who have done that. None of those guys are coming back down 3-1 in the finals. None of them. And speaking of Kawhi, I want to touch on this. So yesterday, this also came out by Bruce Arthur, who's a Toronto Star columnist. He was writing about Kawhi Leonard's 2019 decision, why he didn't come back to Toronto, why he went to the Clippers, because, this is all coming out with his uncle and all this Clipper stuff. And he snuck in there because if you remember, the Lakers were pursuing Kawhi. Leonard didn't want to play with LeBron James. And, of course, this just adds so much fire to the people don't want to play with LeBron crowd. Okay. Can I ask you guys something? I find it so funny that Kawhi Leonard came to Los Angeles with Paul George. The same offseason, LeBron getting Anthony Davis. Now, who won the championship that year? Tell me. LeBron and the Lakers. Now, tell me this. When's the last time the Clippers won a championship? Never. Okay. When's the last time they went to a championship at all? Also never. So maybe you should have teamed up with LeBron. Because this is LeBron James, who's won in a bubble, a locked-out Jordan season, a Game 7 when Ray Allen and Chris Bosh combined for 0 points. Sure, Jordan is 6-0, but what's his record without Phil or Scottie? LeBron James, doesn't matter the co-star or the teammate. And I also like how Mark Cuban said this the other day on Gil's Arena, that LeBron could take a bad team to the finals and Jordan couldn't. If you need a killer, you go with Jordan. If you want a team that can get better and reach the finals, you go with LeBron. So all I'm saying is this. If you're building a roster and you have the number 1 pick in an NBA redraft, I went back and forth on this with my guy Mars from Players Choice the other week. You don't know what the 2nd round, 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round is going to look like. You don't know what your competition and your conference is going to look like or how the chemistry is going to mesh. So your first round pick should be the guy who's most likely going to take your team to the promised land, no matter the situation. And to me, LeBron has to go number one because he's the most likely guy in the history of the NBA to take you to a championship, no matter if he's playing in a warm or cold city with a loud or quiet head coach, a point guard or center teammate, if he's playing against weak competition or a dynasty. LeBron is more likely going to take you to an NBA Finals than any player in the history of the game. And that's why he should go number one. But let me know what you guys think. I appreciate everyone for tuning into this episode of A Casual Take. Follow me on Twitter at StephenPepper38. And until next time,